Hi guys, my name's Naya. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and if I seem a little tired during this video, forgive me. I just recorded a hour-long video and I couldn't get the footage. The whole footage was in slow-mo. So let's take it from the top, shall we? All the way from the beginning. So no, this is my first ever YouTube video, and I just wanted to make this about my testimony and my journey. Because it's been a long one and it's been a difficult one. Those who know me know. So let's just jump right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. Or footage. Or storage. I feel like my testimony, my story, well, everybody's story starts from day one, right? But I'm going to pick up from middle school. I want to tell my story starting from middle school because I feel like middle school was really when stuff got active for me. Stuff started happening. I started dating boys. I got in my first relationship. I got kicked out of a school, sent to a new school. So let's start there. So initially, upon graduating elementary school, I had these two best friends and they were already in middle school and I wanted to go to the same school as them. I applied to the school, got in. It was frowned upon by many. It wasn't a really good school. It was like a lot of fights. It was known as a bad school. I wanted to go anyway because I thought, you know, I'm with my best friend, thought I was cute. I'm in middle school, y'all can't tell me nothing. Good in middle school. Long story short, my best friend winds up getting into a fight with this girl. And it was a big fight. I go to break up the fight one day. And I wind up getting snuck by one of the girls that my best friend's fighting. Her best friend. I'm getting snuck by her. We start fighting. We start tussling. We doing what we doing.
From the shoulder!
Anyway, we doing what we doing. And long story short, I want to kind of like getting jumped low-key that day. That is a whole different story for a whole other time. We can get into that another time. But I had to change schools from that day. I had to change schools. I got into a safety transfer because not only did I get jumped, but upon going to school the next day, one of the girl's friends that my friend fought came up to me with a box cutter. She was like, oh yeah, this is for you when you're after school. What? I started going crazy. Teachers had to break us up. We didn't fight, but like I was about to kill that little girl. I was like gonna jump over the table and hurt her. I got up. I immediately started cursing her out. It was bad. I got expelled. I had to have a safety transfer, and I wound up going to the school in the Bronx as well,
called Archimedes Academy.
Why did I have that? Archimedes was, I feel like, the catapult to everything bad. It wasn't that bad. Upon me going to Archimedes, I was already like known there because of my fight. It was a viral fight. Everybody was talking about it, so I was already talked about at the school. I was uncomfortable. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know many people. I knew like one or two people at the school, but they were in my grade, so I was like an outcast, but I was already talked about. Upon coming to the school, people knew I was coming. It was a lot. The girls talked about me. They didn't know if they liked me or didn't like me. The boys was all over me. It was a lot. Like, I wasn't really liked. Let's say that. I spent most of my time with my guidance counselor. Like, I would even go to the cafeteria. I would spend every single day in my guidance counselor room. I would sometimes skip classes in there. It was pretty, like, I just didn't want to, like, it was a lot going on, especially for someone so young. I feel like me being so young, it was a lot for me. I felt like I was just under so many eyes were on me. Some people were talking about me, not even just the students, but the teachers used to talk about me because of, like, my history. It was a lot. In that was 6th grade. Come 7th grade, I started dating this boy in the school. He's also well known at the time in the school. He's like one of the hot boys in the school, whatever the case may be. I started dating him. If I thought they were talking about me then, oh boy, were they talking about me now. It was so uncomfortable to be there because I just felt like so many eyes were on me, so many questions. People would just ask me random questions of my life and I would be like, I was so shy and I was so timid and I was so young that public relationship in the school with that popular person in the school, it made me quite popular, and it also made me feel like I had just eyes on me at all times. Long story short, that was my first relationship ever in life. Obviously, I was 13 years old. I was in 7th grade, and it was like my first relationship. I actually like moved into his house. I was living with him for a few months. I'm sorry if I'm talking fast, guys. I am so please forgive me. I just had a Celsius and I am just like on 100. That's why I'm remaking this video. So moving with him, I'm living with him for a couple months, and that's when I feel like my life really took a turn for the worst. The worst, but the better, because I'm here now. But I started smoking weed every day. He smoked every day, all day. So I started doing what he did. We were smoking all the time. We really had to grow up early because, well, I had to grow up early because now we feeding each other. We figuring out what to eat. Like that, all that responsibility was like on us, because like, who's taking care of me? You know what I mean? Because his mom wasn't really around as much. She wasn't really involved as much. So like, food responsibilities, finances, that all was on us. So it was pretty stressful, especially for someone who's 13 years old. It was pretty stressful. It was a lot, and I grew up really fast. I had to grow up really, really fast. We went through a lot, and I went through a lot in that relationship, and that things that just forced me to grow up, like situations that made me have to be like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? If you know what I mean. So we were smoking every day, and now that I'm smoking, I'm like, let me run it back. I had a tumultuous childhood. So I know you're going to be like, I know there's going to be comments like, 13 years old living with a boyfriend? Blah, 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 blah. Where was your parents? Where was this? Where was that? Spare me. Because I was going through a lot at home. I didn't want to be home. Like, I really rather have been anywhere but home. So me finally being with someone who was like, yeah, you can stay with me, I felt like I could breathe finally. Like, I was so uncomfortable at my house. I couldn't sleep at night where I was at, living with my parents in my grandmother's house. It was a lot for me. I was really depressed. I was anxious. I was very suicidal at the time. So this was something that really gave me a peace of mind to a certain extent. And then on top of that, we were smoking every day. So I thought that I really found peace. Like, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't good. Like I didn't figure it out. I thought I figured it out. I figured it out. Like, yeah, I'm good. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. I'll stop by, get some clothes here and there. I thought I was grown. Like, grown. Because I was doing grown stuff. I ultimately was doing grown stuff. However, being so young and so influential, I took on a lot of this person's traits. A lot of his anger, a lot of his habits. Obviously, we smoked. His habit turned into my habit. So now we have to smoke every single day. So we're finding out how to smoke. We also finding out how to eat. Because all this responsibility is on us now. You know? Because it's like, we're like a team, if you will. So we was figuring it out. And I feel like a lot of the time, the responsibility did fall on me. If I'm being honest, if I'm being truthful, if I'm being transparent. I did have to figure out most of what we were going to do every day. How we were going to do it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, grew up really fast from that situation on. It was like a catapult to just growing up a lot quicker. We wasn't together for long. We was together maybe a few months. Maybe like 8 months we were together. And upon us breaking up, I still had to smoke. Smoking was my thing. And like I said, I took on a lot of this person's habits and a lot of this person's ways. So he would have like these moments of like anger and just like rage. Next thing you know, I'm having these moments of just anger and just rage. And I'm cursing out people. I want to fight people. I'm taking from people. It was bad. I done stole a girl's phone. It was horrible, but I'm not in my own mindset. I'm in a new mindset now. I'm in a mindset of how am I going to eat? How am I going to get the things that I need, right? And it kind of was like an any means necessary mindset, which was toxic and destructive. So at this point, I'm taking on somebody else's personality. I'm doing things that are not like myself. And I just was changing into somebody that I really didn't know, and I really, looking back, did not like. And I burnt a lot of bridges. I ruined a lot of friendships. I made a lot of stupid decisions. And I was just going down a bad spiral. My anxiety got worse. My depression got worse. My suicidal thoughts got 10 times worse, and it was just a bad situation for me upon us breaking up. I was just doing a lot of things that was just out of my character that I wouldn't do. I'm a real shy, quiet girl who just, I really had everything kind of handed to me growing up. So this whole new lifestyle was new to me. I didn't really have to go and do all these crazy stuff just to figure out what I had to eat, because I had all of those things, but I wanted to be rebellious. I thought I was something that I just was not, you know. So with that being said, I had to smoke. Now it's about, I gotta smoke every day. I gotta figure this out. So I was finding a way to smoke any way necessary. I mean, I'm smoking like 7-8 times a day. I'm figuring it out. I didn't know how to do it, but I figured it out. You know what I mean? I'm teaching myself how to roll, all these crazy stuff. So now that habit lasted me about 8 years, guys. I was smoking every single day, morning to night, 8 years. And while I still was able to get stuff done, I graduated high school, I went to esthetician school, I graduated from esthetician school, I still felt so stuck and so trapped in this habit. Like, I couldn't really truly live my life for myself. I was so stuck, I had to smoke. That was my thing. And if I didn't smoke, I was throwing stuff around. I would cry for hours like a baby, like somebody just killed somebody I really loved. Like, I was like distraught. All my pain from all the years of my life just would come out, and I would be insane. I would sometimes have to be hospitalized just because how crazy I would act and the things that I would do in those moments. Like, my mom would call the cops on me. She was like, yeah, get this girl, please. And looking back at it, I don't blame her. But in the moment, I'm like, oh, you calling the cops on me? When I need help. And honestly, I really needed help. Like, I needed therapy. I needed something. I thought something was really mentally wrong with me that I could never fix. That's how bad it was. I had really bad depression, like I said, really bad anxiety, really bad suicidal thoughts. And I was in and out the hospital at this point for about 6, 7 years. I was in and out the hospital just crashing out really bad, y'all. And even with my friendships at the time, most of my friendship would be catered around smoking. It would be like, hey, what's up? You want to smoke? You want to sipe, link, sipe, sleep, link, sipe. I would just hang around people, honestly. I'll be honest with y'all. I would even just hang around people just because it was like, okay, you got 10, you got 5, and it would be that. Like, we wasn't even really friends. We probably wouldn't even hung out if I didn't feel like I could get something out of that person. If I'm being real transparent and real. Alright? So with that being said, tumultuous time in my life, and that lasted me 6 years of just stress and just identity crisis and trying to figure out. And I just thought my life was crap. Really crap. Because I looked around me and I'm like, yo, no one else around me is going through these things. But then again, I was 13 and I put myself in such a situation that made me grow up so quick. And I didn't even I didn't even fully develop. I didn't even fully grow. I didn't even know myself. My mind didn't even get to a point where I wasn't so influential. I was so influential. With all that being said, graduated middle school, graduated high school, I'm still smoking every day. All my friendships throughout these years are basically catered around smoking. And I started wanting more. I started fiending for more in my life. I started dating this guy. He was a Muslim. He's telling me Allah is the way. This is what you gotta do. This is what you gotta do. And I'm fully believing it. I'm fully for it. I'm like, all right, I'll fast, I'll pray, I'll do it. Just because I was really desperately searching for some type of substance in my life, some type of lasting high, if that makes sense. Something that made me feel content with life. I didn't feel content. I was so uneasy. And I was stuck in a really bad cycle for a really long time. Like, I had to smoke. I have to emphasize that. I had to smoke every single day or I would crash out. So, with that being said, I tried being a Muslim. And not to go against anybody's religion, because that's not the point of this video. That's not what I'm trying to do. But it didn't work for me. It didn't fulfill me. I didn't feel different. I would pray and I would feel good for 15 minutes and then I would just crash out again. I would need something else. It didn't give me that internal fulfillment that I needed, that I was desperately searching for. So I started getting into spirituality. I'm watching tarots day in, day out. I'm buying crystals. I'm buying sage. I'm saging myself. I'm taking spiritual baths. I'm doing all these things to feel something, to feel at peace with myself ultimately. And nothing worked. I was probably doing that for like 3 years consistently. Watching tarot videos, the tarot lady. You know what I'm talking about. The lady that will be telling you that your ex is thinking about you on TikTok. Yeah. I will watch her nonstop. I will watch all these different types of people nonstop. And I would get some type of clarity about myself from it that made me feel good for 15 minutes. And then I'm back to, honestly, I would feel worse after watching the video. That's I realized that towards the end of my journey with that spirituality stuff. Towards the end of my journey with that, I realized like, yo, I feel worse after watching this lady. I feel worse after she done spoke all this stuff on my life and now I'm believing it. And now I'm like, well, why am I not where you say I'm at? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't lasting. It didn't fulfill me. It was not the truth, the way, and the light. Which now I know is Jesus. And he's the truth, the way, and the light. And he gives me an eternal peace that none of those things could ever give me in 1,000 years. With that being said, back to the story. Yeah, so I'm just searching. I'm searching for answers. I'm searching for peace. I'm searching for truth. And I would stumble across some sermons from Stephen Furtick and other preachers. And I would watch their videos a little more consistently, and I would stray away from the tarot. I would watch tarot a little here and there, and I would try to piece my life together, and I would just kind of go into like a spiritual psychosis, like a mental psychosis, where I just had all these thoughts and all these things in my head, and I just thought all these things where I was borderline crazy. Yeah. And it was very unhealthy for me. And it would make my situation worse. From being point blank period, it didn't make me feel better, it made me feel worse. Now, after watching some sermons and getting closer to God, my God, and really resonating with with what I was hearing, I started slowly, very slowly, like I was still smoking, I was still into spirituality, new age spirituality. I was still into all these things, but I grew closer to God. Now I know, okay, this is the God that I need to follow. And slowly but surely I would watch the sermons, I would read my word a little more, I would go to like certain Bible studies, I would go to church here and there. And slowly but surely I'm changing. Very slowly but surely, because I'm stuck in my ways. I'm so stuck in my ways that I didn't want to change. I really did not want to change. Moral of the story, I wasn't trying to change. Sorry, guys. I was not trying to change, and it took years for me to break this cycle, y'all. It took years. And one day, I watched this Stephen Furtick. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. I watched one of his sermons, and it was about not serving two gods at once. It was basically about God has so much for you, but you're holding on to the past. You're holding on to things that he already called you out of, you know. And I was like, you know what? I felt that on a different level. I really resonated with that so much in my heart that I wrote down my key points from the video and I meditated on it, and I ate the words, and I really sat in that, and I was like, God is talking to me. Like, God is really talking to me. He's really pulling on my heartstrings. At this moment, I'm getting more into gospel music as well. And I'm just slowly but surely changing. Like, my heart is changing. My desires are changing. And I'm like, you know what? I got to go to church. I reached out to my aunt that weekend to go to church. I go to church, and I kid y'all not, the sermon that was preached that day was about making a choice. What are you going to do? You're comfortable. Like, God wants to take you. God wants God has so much in store for you that you got to make a choice to accept those things. You're holding on to dead weight. You're holding on to nothing. You're holding on to dead stuff. And it's like, I just knew he was talking to me. Like, the sermon was so powerful. It was speaking directly to me, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I could not ignore it. Like, I couldn't ignore it. But let me rewind. Maybe like the day before, like 2 days before, I had me and my good friends, who usually comes over to my house every other day to smoke and chill. He comes over to my house, and we're smoking and we're chilling, and I'm just like sitting there like having like an outer body experience, and I'm just like, I'm over this. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, there's so much more that I want for my life. There's so much more that I want to experience, and I feel like I'm repeating the same day over and over and over, and I'm just smoking. I gotta smoke. After this blunt's finished, 10 minutes later, I'm smoking another one. It wasn't enough. It wasn't fulfilling me. I was not fulfilled. I felt so just drained by myself. Like, I was draining myself at that point. Sorry, we're back. So I was basically draining myself, and I just knew, like, I want more for myself. I would stay up and I would reminisce about the life I want from a young girl. I just always wanted so much. And so much happened to me at a young age that just deterred me off my path, deterred me off my faith, deterred me off of my talents, my gifts. I have so much gifts and so much talent that I never nurtured because I never really had the time. I never really had the push, the support to do those things. So I did my own thing. I was like, okay, well, if you're not going to support this dream, you're not going to support that dream, you're not going to support this dream, I'm going to just take things in my own hands. And obviously I started rebelling and getting into things that really only hurted me in the long run. And I felt like something that was used as a tool, because at the time I couldn't control my emotions. So when I smoked, I was able to control my emotions. I was able to talk to my mom a little better, talk to my dad a little better. And I thought this was something that was meant to really help me. And while it did in some ways, it hurt me more. Because without it, I was a complete wreck. I was a complete mess. I couldn't even think straight. I was like, no, but seriously, I was Pookie for real. And, you know, I just felt so stuck and so trapped. So fast forward to back to the day that me and my friends are smoking together. I didn't even let him know what I was feeling. I was just in my head like, yo, this is played out. How many blunts I'm gonna smoke? What am I searching for? What is this doing for me? At a certain point, it wasn't doing anything for me. Like, y'all, I've been doing this for 8 years every single day. It wasn't doing anything for me. I wanted so much more for myself. So I was like, I gotta go to church. I didn't let him know that, but the next day, I reached out to my aunt and I was like, I gotta go to church. It was on my heart so heavy that I have to go back to church. I just knew it. I walk in there and she's preaching such a similar sermon to what I heard the other day, and I was like, I gotta make a choice. And that was the name of the sermon, like, make a choice. And she was like, make a choice and make it today. Make a choice and make it today. And I want to let you guys know that it's not easy. It's hard, especially when you rely on it, especially when it's your comfort zone, especially when your environment is toxic and you want to escape it. It is hard. Trust me, I know, but you can do it. The hardest part is making the choice. Once you made the choice, God will do the rest. God will do the rest for you. God will carry you. God will make a way for you. Like, he made a way for me. And it's so funny because the day I quit smoking, that was the day I stopped smoking. That was my last day smoking. I made a choice. I said, I'm going to make a choice. I got prayed over, and she was just speaking things to me that nobody knew. She just knew things that nobody knew, and she was talking to me, and I knew that God was talking to me right then and there and telling me, like, I want you. The devil can't have you. He had you for too long. I want you. Come to me. And I was like, I'm coming. Basically, like, I completely surrendered because I was so fed up with my own self. Like, we get in our own way so many times, and I was just fed up with myself. I was done with my crap. And I surrendered. That was my last day smoking. I'm like 85 days sober, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the 80s. And you know, since then, I haven't smoked. I would be lying if I said I didn't have, you know, times where I'm like, damn, I want to hang out with my friends, but they're smoking. I don't want to be around that. You know what I mean? I do have those moments, but I always go back to my word. I always go back to my Bible, and I'm always refreshed with so much clarity and so much peace that I knew I never would get from that. And I remind myself, you know, when I was in that stage, I was so broken. I was just searching for something to make me feel good, when God makes me feel great. And he's the only thing that will give you that eternal peace, that internal peace, you know, that peace of mind, everything that I was looking for. He had it to give. And that same day, it's funny because I told you guys I graduated esthetician school a couple months earlier, prior to me quitting smoking. But that same day that I quit smoking, instead of going home and smoking a blunt like I usually would do, I went sorry, excuse me, I saw this Instagram ad for a suite in my area, and I was like, let me go check it out because I have nothing to do. Might as well go check out this suite so I could start like working as having my own business, working for myself. I go check this suite out, y'all. It was 5 blocks away from where I live. 5 blocks away from where I live. I felt like that was God talking to me. If that wasn't God talking to me, I don't know what was. I go see the suite. The next day I got my keys. And I feel like that just goes to show you, like, the moment you surrender, the moment you really make that choice, God will meet you halfway. He met me halfway. I know he'll meet you halfway. And if this video can just inspire you to, if nothing else, if you're in any of these seasons of your life, if you're in a toxic relationship, if you're going through anxiety, depression, if you're addicted to smoking, I just want to let you know that it gets better. I know it sounds so cliche and so played out and repetitive, but it does get better. And make a choice. Make that choice for your own future. Make that choice for yourself, because your future you is depending on it. Your future kids are depending on it. You know, and I have to keep reminding myself that and stick to my word, and God will carry you through. So if you guys take anything from this video, take it that God has so much more for you. You know that meme where it's like a little girl holding on to a teddy bear, but God has a big teddy bear behind him, and he's like, give me the small teddy bear. Give him the small teddy bear and he will do the rest. Like, he has so much greater for you. And I hope this helps in any way, shape, or form. Leave comments down below if you have any questions on how I make this change or want to talk and whatever. I love you guys. God loves you more. And until next time, because this will not be my last video. This is my first video, but not my last video. So until next time. Jeez Louise.